A controversial Texas law that would ban most abortions went into effect this morning after the Supreme Court did not act on an emergency appeal. The new law bans abortions as early as 6 weeks into pregnancy. But in a new legal twist, it empowers ordinary citizens, not state officials, to enforce the law by filing private lawsuits against anyone who helps a woman obtain an abortion after 6 weeks. From family and friends to doctors to Uber drivers to organizations like Planned Parenthood. So I'd like to bring in the president of Planned Parenthood, Alexis McGill-Johnson, for more on this. Alexis, thanks for being here. And let me ask you first, what's the impact of this law today? How is life in Texas different today for women there?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me and for covering this really horrible draconian law. As you said, is it a 6-week ban at 6 weeks at a time when most people don't even know they are pregnant? 85% of abortions in Texas happen after 6 weeks. And so the impact is very clear. Over the last few weeks, Planned Parenthood providers, independent providers have been trying to see patients to get them the care that they need all the way up until the last minutes last night before midnight. And today, if you are pregnant after 6 weeks and you need to terminate your pregnancy for whatever reason, you will have to travel out of state. And so the impact on low-income communities, BIPOC communities, trans communities is very, very real. And my heart just goes out to patients and all of the providers in Texas right now.
And the Supreme Court had until midnight last night to stop all this, but it declined to act, and they still haven't said why or what they're going to do, if anything. So what further action could be taken to stop this in federal courts?
Well, as you said, they haven't acted, but we still are holding out hope that they will understand the devastation that's happening, the potential devastation that's happening on the ground right now for people who, again, are terrified, both providers of being sued by a random private citizen in any state, as well as patients who have to plan and take time in order to have this procedure. So, we are still holding out hope for the Supreme Court to weigh in, but in not doing so, they are essentially pushing people out of state to essentially get guaranteed to their constitutional right.
12 other states have passed bans on abortion to early stages of pregnancy, but none have been allowed to take effect. So Texas' ban is different than those laws?
Texas is the first 6-week ban to take effect. So it holds that distinction of essentially turning the clock back on Roe after 50 years. But, you were right. There are a number of restrictions that have been introduced over this last year. 600 restrictions have been introduced. 90 restrictions have been enacted. And, again, this is part of, a long plan to essentially gut Roe, while the Supreme Court is also taking up a case in this year that goes straight to the essence of Roe. It's part of a long strategy to deny our ability to actually make fundamental decisions about our bodies.
And these efforts coming on many fronts now, and this law in Texas includes that provision I mentioned that empowers private individuals, including anti-abortion protesters, with no connection to the patient, and they don't even have to live in Texas, to bring a lawsuit seeking enforcement of the ban. Once again, a lawsuit not against the woman seeking an abortion, but against anyone who helps her family, her friends, her husband, whomever, doctors, Planned Parenthood. That just sounds unprecedented and cynical to me.
It is. Literally, like pitting neighbor against neighbor, family member against family member, empowering people to be involved in decisions that really should be ours, right? That's what Roe guarantees us under the Constitution, ability to make decisions, pre-viability about our own bodies. And to add another layer, right, where the state is not responsible for enforcing its own bad law, they are going to empower average citizens to again, engage in really problematic behavior, surveilling people, trying to figure out their comings and goings, sharing confidential information. That just is like such a destruction of community, of society, of democracy, and the Constitution all in once. It's horrific.
And a group of Texas state officials who are defending the law, they wrote a brief to the Supreme Court, and they said that, quote, abortion providers have not shown they're going to be harmed by a bill that may never be enforced against them by anyone, much less the government and its government power that is usually at issue in courts. So they say that Planned Parenthood, others like you, that you don't know that somebody's going to come after you. What do you say to that?
What I say is they've already created the infrastructure on their websites for people to document information, right, around what is happening. What I say is that we already have sites of people sitting in parking lots, writing down license plates numbers, and doing whatever we don't know, right, on their phones, taking pictures of people's faces. They are intending to create fear and chaos and confusion, and that is incredibly problematic when we were talking about a constitutional right to a medical procedure.
All right. Well, President of Planned Parenthood, Alexis McGill Johnson, thanks very much for joining us on this very important day for this constitutional right.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.